Very fast game. Let's see where this potential final game for Tempo Storm is going to take place. They have opted for Battleground choice, having lost the last game. That is, I think, something that we're going to see a lot of in a best-of-3 situation, Kaldor.
Yeah, like again, for me personally, the last game had two aspects to it. It was, first of all, that Tempo Storm just simply didn't perform to the level that you would expect from one of the major regions. But it was also that Deadlykittens playing extremely well.
Yeah.
So those two factors were just combined, and that resulted in the game that we saw. Now Tempo chose the map, and that is a lot more. I mean, this is a lot more common, I feel, in North America than we have in a lot of other regions. We are usually first pick is prioritized. But they are saying, hey, we are confident we need to win now. I mean, this is everything on the line at this point, so you need to win the map. You're taking one of your best, you're taking the map where you're saying, hey, we're going to get a win here for sure. But it's also a map where we need to have a lot of coordination. And to be honest, a better coordinated game on the last map was the Deadlykittens.
Well, it is somewhat seen as a Battleground choice in North America, but I think also it's a product of best-of-3s too. Because they've already lost one, there's so many Battlegrounds that are still left up. They want to make sure that they get one where they feel comfortable. We're ready for the draft, guys.
Well, this Battleground always comes down to that top lane, so we'll see how that 1v1 will occur. We do get some delayed games here as well, so Tempo Storm trying to prey on the idea of, okay, let's get to that mid to late game where we feel like we are a little bit on the stronger side. But Deadlykittens, in the past, it's been one of the Battlegrounds they've always gone to. Well, this is a different squad, obviously, but they still have Innover, and Innover has been great in the top lane.
They love having him, and they love playing around Tahaka. They love a lot of things that they can do on the map. We've seen, you know, high priority on Sonya now, especially, which actually looked really good last game. So I think there's a couple of things that still fit to their core values, as you said, and the way that they like to play that. And we actually saw them pick Dragonshire against MVP Black. Obviously a different opponent, they struggled there, but this is their Battleground. They are okay with you picking this against them.
I mean, we talked earlier a bit about how they said, hey, in our qualifiers, our drafts weren't really on point. And JL, we talked a bit about how they said, hey, we are improving this now. And I feel the last game showed it. We already said after the draft that the tools look really, really good. And it was just a question how well will they do using those? And this is going to come down to the same question. With Rhaegar's support, you already are very flexible in the sense that he has wave clear if you need it for them. But you're laughing at
there was almost like it was almost like a running joke in SEA when we were there. You were talking about the drafts and things that they were doing. It got to a point, obviously Rhaegar was really strong about a month and a half ago, right? But they were first picking Rhaegar. It became a first ban thing during their last regional. And so like I'm sitting here thinking back, like there was almost a joke amongst the team. It's like, this is the only hero he can play because he was so good at the time, but that was their most successful hero that they literally first pick it. It's hard to argue that, but this is what Jinwoo does.
I mean, you can't argue the strengths of what Rhaegar brings, right? Like, even with the slight changes that we saw on the last patch, the way the meta's changed a little bit, how susceptible he is to actual dive. He's still a strong hero, but one that we continue to keep going back towards with Tempo Storm. It's a Malthael and the ETC.
Yeah, and with Malthael taken, I wouldn't be surprised to see once again Ana taken away from them, since Nana boosted Malthael can be quite the pain to deal with. But now, of course, it's more about the double picks that they have on their own hand. They already committed to, I mean, they can again commit to globals here. That's one of the things to definitely keep in mind. We've been talking about top lane on Dragonshire quite a bit, but just quick rotations in general on this map can be absolutely fantastic if you have the opportunity to rotate quickly, get the kills, have Dehaka, Brightwing to an extent. We've seen Fawcett every now and then make an appearance in drafts, even though it's not really the first choice anymore.
I just feel that at this point, you can most likely expect an SJ Hunt Gray minute, just a matter of when do we draft it. But Sonya, I think, is one of the more particulars. Now, the fear of Lucio being banned out again as a Malthael counter, they opt for the early double support. This definitely fits their style, confidence going over on Lucio again. But the Muradin pickup here for Deadlykittens.
I like that actually a lot because this is exactly what we talked about earlier when they played against MVP Black, that it didn't really seem that they respected him enough. And now the quick adaptation here, picking Muradin and really acknowledging, okay, the recent changes have made him an exceptionally powerful tool. It's of course also another tool they can use against ETC, against Malthael. So I really like the adjustment here.
Yeah, so nice that Heavy Impact comes in at 7 now instead of 16 as another way of being able to stop Mosh Pit even if Stormbolt's down.
Beforehand, Muradin was great on this battleground in BOE because he has the ability to kind of jump onto an opponent and lock them down. And that gets compounded, as you mentioned, by the level 7 now available here. So Muradin being picked up by the Deadlykittens. Sonya will be banned out. I was expecting the Sonya as well. With
really
Muradin,
like
Lucio, that's a ban you have to go with.
But I really like it in the sense that there's very few other melees that can stay in a lane with Malthael successfully, and I think Sonya is one of those ones. Dahaka loses. Illidan can kind of stay in there, but Illidan has fallen way off the map lately. I think we might see some surprise throughout the tournament, but as it stands, I think Sonya, as you said, in the team fighting and in the solo, definitely a really good ban for Tempo.
Does still leave Dahaka.
Yeah, the ban also on the side of Deadlykittens. I mean, we talked about it already a bit earlier, and it makes a whole lot of sense here with what we're seeing for Tempo. Tempo themselves with the double support here, so well, Furion oftentimes is more so the choice on Tumor of the Spider Queen when we're looking at other regions for the added utility as well. But here in this setup, you have, of course, Roots after a power slide. So there's a lot of control on their side. And, of course, you have also Silence.
What? Like, why?
Wave clear.
Yes, definitely. I get each of the supports, but both supports are already over here for Deadlykittens. Do they not want to deny a range? Are they hiding something?
Again, I don't know if they feel comfortable going with the Greymane at this point. Greymane seems like a likely option for Deadlykittens, but it seems a little bit less likely against the Uther, the Malfurion. You've got the stun, you've got the lockdown, so maybe they're looking to control that. They're not as afraid of the Muradin.
I mean, it has to be reactionary. At this point, you have so much control that the question is to simply, I would expect burst. That's the first thing that you think about if you have ETC for the power slide. You have Uther for follow-up stun, you have Malfurion in the same boat. So I'm not quite sure what you would hide there, so it feels more so that they're afraid of what the Kittens could potentially take for...
It's just Greymane is so strong for Deadlykittens. And he's good with Malthael. Oh, there you go, Leoric.
Yeah. Not the Dahaka.
We can talk a little bit about the Lord and Savior, Ominous Wrath.
Go ahead and talk about it. I know you want to. You're smiling.
Tell us more about the wrath.
You got a pre-script that you've written every night before you go to bed. You read it, and you're like, good night. You kiss it, put Leo down on the ground.
No, but my boy is in the game, so I'm happy already. I don't need to talk about it.
Well, the 5th pick here, gonna definitely be some damage. Options floating around. There's still the Vala. Could move into it.
Somebody's got to execute off of Malthael.
I really wanted that Greymane, though,
Me
for
too.
Tempo Storm.
Which is surprising. Maybe they, I'm trying to think of why they would hide that. Maybe they want to counter it. But again, as you said, the support's already picked up. Maybe pick up a support plus that damage, but whoever...
The hesitance here just confuses me.
Yeah, if you are doing that, as Gilly said, you should know what you want to go into.
Oh, what?
What in the hell is going on?
Okay, so...
I guess they want to go out with a bang?
That's
sorry,
how
what's that mean? Sorry.
Yeah, that's how you feel about the comp?
Well, isn't that normally my line?
Sorry, I was trying to talk because
you
we're silent.
away from me, what do I bring to this?
Sorry, we'll rewind. You can go ahead and say it.
Okay. I think they want to go out with a bang here.
Yeah, it's possible. You know, it's definitely a thing.
Do you think they want to go out with a bang?
Could be.
JL, what do you think?
I think they want to go out with a bang. They said that we could expect some weird stuff, potentially. They've basically been playing a 2-month-old meta with a new hero or two, reworked hero or two. That's been it. It's been it for 3 games so far. And now we get what everybody probably watching, everybody at this desk assumed there would have to be some type of range damage in this scenario, right? And we get a last pick Kerrigan.
I'm okay with it if they actually go for the aggression. Like, you have to get in your opponent's face. You can't dance around. Lucio constantly will be in a spot where he is boosting around Sonya. Sonya's going to be doing as much damage as he can to that Kerrigan. You're going to have ETC who can definitely negate that fight. ETC Kerrigan can dive together. Power slide into a combo is strong.
Circles of death.
Circles of death.
That's what they're going for.
Post 10.
I mean, they have a lot of control, a lot of stuns that they
combos.
can use here. One of the things that I'm a bit afraid of is that Leoric is going to really shine against this in the sense that he's going to hit a lot with the Skeleton Swing. Consume Vitality is proccing really well here. March of the Black King is going to be fantastic if used correctly in team fights. So as you said, Tempo Storm needs to show early game aggression, quick rotations, and get kills in, because that's where Kerrigan excels. If they lose out on that window, on that opportunity, then I feel they're going to have a lot of trouble bringing this game home, especially since once you fall behind with Kerrigan, you're basically done.
Out with the banger, in with the new meta. Kalaris and Dreadnought, what do you think?
It's a bold play, Cotton, as we'll find out in just a few moments' time here. What a way to end that draft, Red.
What a way to end. It's still, I'm still a little bit, struck here that they were willing to commit to that Kerrigan. Later on, you and I were coming up with like wild theories, like is it a Kel'Thas, Kel'Thuzad? And then nope, Chuck Tester just slide in the old Kerrigan.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 2 to find out who is going to be moving on here. And will Tempo Storm keep themselves alive in this series with a Kerrigan of all things in the final choice? One thing's for sure is going into it, if they find that potential to always be rotating faster than their opponents, Kerrigan can control the bottom and mid quite well.
I completely agree with you, but first we got to introduce our teams. In the blue, up a game is Deadlykittens, where we have NSJ on his Greymane. We have Stronger up on the Muradin. Also, we had Enavir on Leoric, Jinwoo on Rhaegar, and Stronger on that Muradin.
And over to the right-hand side, of course, in Tempo Storm land, June will be playing Uther. Next up is going to be Fury on ETC. Next, we have Cathonluck on Malfurion, bringing out that second support. Tharm will be rocking the Kerrigan, and Caterpillar, as always, the trusty Malthael.
And so there's a lot of follow-up immediately to the Kerrigan combos talking about. We see one landing there, immediate root follow-up. Hammer of Justice is going to be thrown down there, but Stronger is looking just fine. But you talked about the aggression you wanted to see out of Tempo Storm. I do want to say that traditionally against maybe an opponent that you consider a little bit weaker, granted Tempo shouldn't have that mentality at this point in time, offensive compositions always pay off.
And these double supports at the moment really keeping Leoric alive. Enavir cannot be killed off there as Kettle's trying to rip apart some souls and continuing on, trying to put some pressure towards Muradin. Not likely to kill him though. The one thing that I wanted to ask you, Dread, though, is that with the Malfurion as early as it was, does that, I mean, with the wave clearers, Leoric actually died off up towards that top lane, so very nicely done. But the Malfurion, to me, now makes more sense. I mean, I don't mind the wave clear factor, but with a Kerrigan, very impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Picking that up once you see the Rhaegar gone, if you're going to go into a double support on a map that requires as much wave clear as this, we saw the Malfurion, it goes, oh, Moonburn being able to help out, but then suddenly having that ranged follow-up, so successful there. Obviously, Uther, he's pretty good at it, especially post-Benediction, but he often has to risk his life or his positioning, as it feels like Cattle's doing a little bit of that here up on the top lane.
All right, Enavir trying to put on some pressure against Cattle. And likewise, he can't really move forward knowing that Enavir is a little bit low because he knows that there's a potential of that rotation. And Stronger with what seems like the smallest little dwarf toss.
It's the dwarfiest of dwarf tosses right there.
That's right. Don't tell anyone about that one. But Sam and June now looking on the rotation, looking to threaten at the front once again.
I'm surprised to see that kind of, transition in rotations here from the members of Tempo Storm. Yes, they do have an offensive composition, but I'd like to see them at least try and not hide into this Bermuda Triangle of Death. Hold on a minute here. They might be able to sniff out Stronger. Also, another thing to keep in mind with that gank, we saw them transitioning onto Stronger before. They are very quick to use all of their CC stacked on top of one another. I would like to see Uther try and wait for the Dwarf Toss animation before end up using the Hammer of Justice. Try and interrupt that there rather than just kind of throwing CC after CC and hoping to get the kill because his health pool is so very high.
Potential lockdown would be great. One thing to note is that on this map, something like On a Pale Horse at level 1 for Malthael, if he sees opportunities where he's dominating the top lane, he can then potentially, find areas elsewhere to try and come down, help out friends, etc. Which could be nice, but I don't know if he's going to get that kind of room. So the one thing it is great for is getting back to lane.
Yeah, one thing I also want to highlight when it came to those talent adjustments here for Psalm specifically to be able to deal with the wave clear and the focus there. By going with that Fury of the Storm, able to get that splash and make sure Kerrigan not necessarily a go-to character when it comes to that wave clear, and just a beautiful combo there up on bottom. Very good use of the synergy there, but ultimately she makes up for all of her weaknesses with that talent, or at least puts a nice band-aid over top.
And that was a guaranteed kill even if it didn't last that long, because there was the roots under it as well.
Yep, it's just any time that you're able to rake them in, always Malfurion's there for that beautiful follow-up, and then you can use your stun whenever appropriate.
So strong control so far of Dragonshire, much stronger I feel than the previous map.
Very much so. I feel like Tempo Storm is coming out guns blazing here, netting themselves already 2 kills, but, ooh, Cattle. Barely able to make it out of there. In Tempo Storm, now they're pressuring up on bottom. They're succeeding up to the surviving the ganks up on top. And now a Dragon Knight on mid, it just feels like a very different game for them so far. But we have to keep in mind, Kerrigan compositions typically do this in the early game. It's what they can make happen in the late.
Yeah, there is the potential for that fall off. Another pick off on towards Rhaegar. Very nicely done. Not even with a Kerrigan combo at all. Sam, at the moment, in the Dragon Knight, putting on pressure against the structures. Just kicking away one member of Deadlykittens at the moment. Stronger and Confidence bouncing about here, trying to slow this impending death down of this fort. It will fall.
Ultimately, we gotta be asking, what is Tempo Storm going to be doing outside of the Dragon Knight? Because that oftentimes is some of the most important things on Dragonshire.
Yeah.
How many of these mercenary camps are they going to be able to pick up and cycle, pressure out the map painted red, and be able to essentially manipulate the secondary Dragon Knight rotation that we know is going to be coming online?
All right, so just backing off for now, getting themselves a level lead so far. This is a good start for Tempo Storm's campaign to try and get themselves back on track, keeping themselves alive in this group. And one thing about Malfurion is that with the Moonfire build, you don't have something like Loon's Grace where you can just actually have the reach if you want to go full Moonfire, but it's still really annoying. Those numbers still start stacking up later down the line, and it's quite a nuisance.
Yeah, Malfurion is, in my opinion, one of the more underestimated supports when it comes to their actual damage output. He really can become a major problem. The only trade-off, as you said, it's that of Loon's Grace, risking your positioning constantly to be able to get that damage output, but it's made very convenient when the double support meta. It makes sense we see Malfurions trying to make up for what their compositions often fail. And I've highlighted it multiple times. This is oftentimes why Rhaegar, one of the many reasons, Rhaegar is at the forefront of the support meta.
This is one of the maps that you felt that Deadlykittens had most grasp on last tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is without a doubt their best map in my opinion. Their rotations are very, very fluid. As we look towards the later stages of the game, I bet we can oftentimes see them really split pressuring on one aspect of the map with a camp, and then it's very likely that they will be able to force a fight on somewhere else, much like we saw them do on Curse, but here they constantly seem to be able to rely on that strategy.
So the reason I bring that up is because as much as they haven't done that well towards bottom and mid, Lucio has been constantly reinforcing towards top, making Cattle's job a pain in the bum. Like, actually just having a really hard time against a Leoric of all things.
And I feel like that is because the 4-man of Tempo Storm does have enough wave clear because of the adjustment with the Malfurion that we're talking about, that and the 1 versus 1 is so successful for the Malthael that essentially somebody has to make up for that, because you are not going to be able to deal with this lethal 4-man Tempo Storm has composed here. But with their heroics, they are managing to get a lot of pressure onto this bottom keep.
Big pressure with the Knights at the moment. They'll get cleaned up, and then Tempo Storm doesn't feel comfortable sticking around there, even though there's no 10 just yet for Deadlykittens, and we haven't seen the unleashing of Maelstrom and the Tormented Souls. I can't wait for that one. That one's going to be exciting. As they said, circles upon circles.
Circles upon circles. It is going to be just absolutely terrifying with seeing those in synergy. I've never really seen them in the same composition, which is showing kind of the rarity of what Tempo Storm has built here. But Power Slide, Kerrigan combo, brilliant cleanse.
Very, very well done there. Stronger gets out. Not even the Roots will be able to lock that down. Cattle at the moment on the flank, looking to put pressure on towards Leoric, making him stray away from the fight. Stronger lives to fight another day.
Enavir dropping the Wraith Walk, looking to retrieve. Fury gets the Power Slide. Kerrigan combo not going to be used. Ancestral does end up dropping, but we saw Rhaegar transition down towards bottom. He stops the Dragon Knight from being able to be taken.
Actually cancelling out that the silence there on the Malfurion. Oh, the Malfurion actually did get the silence off there with the 90 seconds, but overall, so getting themselves 1 kill. Leoric falls, but it's just going to be all they get for now.
Just the Leoric there, but I just want to highlight that rotation out of Deadlykittens to sacrifice their Leoric in order to make sure the Dragon Knight didn't get up. I don't think maybe at this point in time that is necessarily a necessary trait for them, because the Dragon Knight doesn't scale that effectively, but later on, it's those kind of cheeky plays that show the expertise and mastery that they have over a map like Dragonshire.
Alright, so Enavir looks to try and reinforce Stronger up towards the top. He should be able to get away if he's got a Dwarf Toss, but
nice
that Root's going to be able to shut him down. Oh, and the pull back there as he tries to get over the wall. Jinwoo running with his tail between his legs. Poor doggy.
Deadlykittens able to pick up the Knight camp in the meantime. It looks like Leoric's going to try and go bottom to be able to deal with the Giants, but now that Tempo Storm has secured themselves a full level lead with this aggressive composition, that it's likely they'll be able to follow up with the Dragon Knight here. This is looking very, very good. Now I want to be seeing what does Tempo Storm end up doing here with this Dragon Knight, because we often know Dragonshire is one of the few maps that seems to struggle in identifying win conditions, and they are just beelining it here to the keep.
I was going to say, going straight to bot lane, we all know how important and impactful that lane is on this map. Tempo Storm wants none of the late game. None of it. Let's try and round this out as fast as possible.
Enavir actually using that Wraith Walk offensively here, looking to try and force the fight. No kick yet used for Solmus. He's going to move in here, focusing more onto the keep, falling pretty low here.
Tower on towards him. NSJ gets kicked away. No damage done just yet to the lineup, as Enavir here taking a bit of damage. Stronger looking for a flank position on towards the back line.
March of the Black King being dropped down now puts him in a terrible position. Enavir able to get the Wraith Walk out, but it costs him a keep.
Tough stuff. Tempo Storm is happy with that. They're going to retreat out. There will be no fighting here. And that's calm and patient play from Tempo Storm, seizing their advantages. They may lose top 4, depending on how healthy that night camp is, though.
Oh, combo, another cleanse. Once again, we are seeing Jinwoo there to save the day. But that camp you were talking about up on top, this is one of those things that I was trying to highlight. They are so very good at understanding how to pressure one angle of the map while a major objective is going to be there on Dragonshire. And I would argue it's going to be the major reason they're able to come back if they do so in this game, but with confidence, getting CC'd after CC'd. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Sam getting to play a Kerrigan, not a common sight, but certainly making use of it to the fullest extent here in game number 2. And I would love a game number 3, mainly because it's the only cast I get today. But
okay, you know, I'll tell you this much. I would love a game number 3 because I would like to see North America not fall out at this point in time. And that would be a strong correlation there. So, yeah, I would like that.
Yeah. So we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Cleaning Malfurion alone, cleaning up the camp, and that's the power of the Moonfire build, actually, coming into play. You want a Malfurion to do that without Moonfire build? All right, I'll see you in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad time. Talking about a bad time, maybe one here up into the middle lane. Psalm going to land a combo, forces the cleanse, going to be dropped. March of the Black King giving him a bit of HP. Ancestral connects.
And with all of those circles, not only the Maelstrom, but also the
combo!
And that is a huge amount of damage. The Mosh Pit before was zoning them out so well, breaking up the confidence there from Confidence. And all of the combos coming out with those roots going down. Big kills coming out. Tempo Storm almost gets a team wipe.
Tempo just turned it up. So many combos being used there, and the raw root from June to be able to enable that second rotation was absolutely clutch, setting Tempo now 2 full levels here over Deadlykittens, 10-0 when it comes to the kill count.
It's an amazing thing to say that the Mosh Pit didn't get many members, but the fact that they were all spread on either side of it and not really able to reinforce one another was really nice play there. So as much as Fury's had some questionable plays this tournament so far, that one was solid.
Very much so. He is able to, you know, show up when it matters, and sometimes that's the only player that you're going to need on your squad at these high tense moments, big tournaments here. But Tempo with their Dragonite and this huge advantage, what can they make happen here? I'm expecting right onto the keep and then forcing a fight, diving past the keep here with that 16 talent here.
Here goes more pressure. Cattle now looking for... It's difficult to get a second keep off the back of this against the 5v5 with the wall still up and running, but they're going to look for it if they can find it, as Cattle will push on now, trying to kick away confidence. Learned his lesson from kicking away the Leoric prior, and then just a Wraithwalk coming out. Stronger on the backline. Jeez Louise, calm down.
Trying to split the members of Tempo Storm, distract them from obtaining this keep, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Combo got to drop on top of him, forcing the cleanse. Kick actually used onto the Lucio, now on the backside.
Yeah, and actually he dropped Sound Barrier as well while that was going on, so he only shielded himself during all of that. So that was actually a great kick away. Stronger trying to dwarf toss.
But the combo, it's going to connect.
No cleanse as well. Here comes the Ancestral Heal trying to come out, but the damage reduction from the heal. Tormented Souls is actually ripping them apart on this with Maelstrom as well. Get circled, friends, because that's DK. Going to have to be in full retreat. They didn't get more kills, but at least they got the Mirrored.
Tempo Storm now is going to just look at this keep and drop it. Confidence going in combo range, but Psalm not enough man to descend the full rotation. They're going to back out, pick up the Night Camp to boot. Everything is looking primed and ready for Tempo Storm to send us to game number 3.
What are you supposed to do versus Tormented Souls and Maelstrom at that point? If you're both healthy, if you don't have Sound Barrier, you have to run. I mean, surely.
Yeah, that is why maybe Tempo Storm has put so much emphasis onto the Malthael, because in proper situations where you get the full effectiveness, it is very difficult to be able to deal with him as long as that one major cooldown is used like it was into the last fight. I mean, I don't honestly have an answer. I wish I had a better one than that. It's just no run, and that is why we are drafting the way we are.
Tempo Storm looking to set up a potential play. Will DK fall for it? Stronger and Confidence don't want to move too far.
It's a bit scary here. No one looking to move out too far. 25 seconds for the secondary Dragonite, and it doesn't look like we are going to have the battle here throughout mid. 3 members of Deadlykittens going to put emphasis onto the bottom lane as we see Stronger looking to zone out in the Bermuda Triangle, meaning Tempo Storm is going to have a significant advantage with this rotations because of that bottom keep being down, and the Dragonite which one of the shrines these teams are comfortable picking up first. The fact that Tempo is picking up the one closest to a fort makes all rotations very free for them from this point on.
But I like those cautionary moments from Tempo Storm, especially in that situation. They've seized control of this game the entire time. They've got themselves 2 keeps. Why not Party Bush in that spot?
I mean, why not Party Bush all the time? Talking about a party, we've got ourselves one.
Yeah, definitely have. There's going to be roots there on towards front. There's the silence on towards Muradin, trying to keep him alive. And all the while, here comes Tormented Souls as well as Maelstrom. The shield's gone onto Sam. That's a big combo on 2 players. But the support here coming out from Deadlykittens is enough to keep them alive.
That dwarf toss in. Oh, gets the stun combo, being able to pull them back here. Are they going to be able to survive this fight? Ancestral dropped over the wall. Why? Deadlykittens just diving.
They can't keep going with that fight. Deadlykittens here is going to have to, well, they push Tempo Storm away during all of that. That was crazy stuff. The sustain was insane from Deadlykittens.
It showed when we see the sound barrier into the Tormented Souls properly being dropped and being used effectively here. Tempo Storm's composition does have a hard time in these fights. It's just the cooldowns and whether or not we see Confidence able to group up with the team and make sure everyone is getting those effective shields, not letting that passive just tear them apart.
So we're in a similar situation to the last game, where if people aren't dying during Tormented Souls and Maelstrom, Deadlykittens has slowly felt out this game more and more and more as time has gone on, and they were in a much better situation in that team fight, because they know if they can nullify that, if they can get away through all of that, they have an extremely good fighting chance in these team fights.
And as the game moves on, I would like to look towards the 20 Talontiers. Normally I would look at the Leoric and immediately go, yes, this is going to be a huge problem, but he's also gone to March of the Black King, where there's only typically the Spectral Leech to move into the high threat, and I don't see any major argument for that here. Other than that, it's just going to be the wave clear made up for Greymane, honestly, with the auto attacks being able to deal with this pressure that Tempo has secured after getting those 2 keeps in all of those catapults.
1 shrine apiece. Thankfully for Deadlykittens, both of their keeps down are in the same lane. It's very hard to push over the death bridge. So they can constantly keep bouncing back and forth and cleaning that up. So very nicely done by them.
We see Psalm able to get pressure up on top here. That will secure both of the shrines here, and it's going to be a free Dragonite, but a lot of pressure there, as you said. This feels not enough to be game, but very, very close. Good transition downward. Tempo Storm, I'm surprised that they didn't actually move anybody down faster than that. That was a very slow transition. I just autopilot assumed that they were going to do it.
Yeah. And Deadlykittens now has to be dancing themselves for quite a while. They need 20.
One thing I do want to highlight here is that I want to see Deadlykittens try and not take fights in these type of chokeholds that enable that Tormented Soul. Psalm's going to move forward, trying to target down Jinwoo. He's going to kite right on out. Enavir still has the Wraith Walk, same was stronger in that door toss.
Sam went in deep. He knows he has the ability to do so. Here comes the Maelstrom as well as Tormented Souls, blowing up one member instantly. Rega ends up falling with a big silence coming out from Malfurion as well. This is the dream situation here with the Torpus. Fury gets himself the lock on Greymane, and that is going to be more power coming out here from Tempo Storm, looking to round out the game.
Another combo, another follow-up. Tempo Storm is just lighting up the Deadlykittens, now 14-0. Lucio doing his best to make the transition up towards top. Stronger will be able to deny this Dragonite, but it is just for how long? And the answer feels like not very much so. Even Tempo Storm giving up and saying, well, fine then. If you're going to worry about Dragonite, we're going to send ourselves right onto the core.
Big fan of the Torbus play. Just pop it without even people in it and just go forward. Really catches your opponents off guard.
Absolutely, and that looks like it's going to be enough here. Tempo Storm still has 8 seconds before Rhaegar's able to join, and they rid of the shields.
Beautiful stuff here. Confidence and Stronger aren't going to be enough to stop the onslaught that we're seeing from this. Sam, bringing out the Kerrigan in a high-octane moment, is able to keep Tempo Storm alive and push it on to a game number 3.
Very well done here for Tempo Storm. Able to hold their own after what felt like a almost forfeited game here. After looking at the draft, everyone going, what is this? Where is Tempo Storm going? We knew that they were going to bring out some wild cards, but no one thought it would be that wild. And it's nice to see that it was well practiced, well thought out, and they were able to bring their own here again against Deadlykittens.
Bear in mind, not a single kill over towards Deadlykittens in that game. A little bit flustered maybe. The sweat now starts to pour here for both of these teams. One more game determines who moves on. We're going to head over to the analysis desk to see what they think of game number 2.
Well, friends, it seems now that although it's not quite dinner time, we all are going to eat our words because Tempo Storm, with the Circles of Death strategy, were able to take game 2.
That's more like it. I'm way more happy with how they presented themselves in this game now than the first one. So that's much more what I wanted to see. And I'm actually happy that with Kerrigan they were able to execute this much pressure and so much aggression. That was pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, the early game worked well for them.
Yeah, it makes me
I said they were
question.
gonna win, by the way.
Yeah, he did say that. It makes me question. Well, he said that they were going to win, so he just wanted to make sure he gets that in there.
I didn't.
Gotta make sure.
It makes me question why we don't see more aggression from them. Saul almost seems like he won a spot where he was very happy with how he could be aggressive. June constantly was back there to back him up. Kerrigan would bait a couple of fights that would make it look like she may have been on the losing end of a trade, turn around, get a great combo. There were 2 to 3 man combos there that should not have been landing, and Psalm made it work with the help of his supports. I want to see more Tempo Storm like this, more aggressive plays, more getting in your face, because they can definitely pull it off, it looks like.
How many times have we said, and I mean a lot over the past year, of Tempo Storms just, they're not aggressive most of the time.
Just get in
they're
their
so
face.
passive. What if you just draft heroes? It's like, look, you don't have a choice. Like, you're eating your vegetables, right? Like, or else. And they just go in, and it was the aggression once the bladed momentum picked up at level 7. Like, it was the sustained fights that seemed okay with a Lucio Rhaegar in there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, there's another combo. And there's another combo coming out from Kerrigan, and they just could not survive through that. And Psalm, I thought, did a really good job just forcing out all the rotation. Whether he landed it or not, they were very, very impactful.
Yeah, the fights locations were working out really well for Tempo Storm, and that gives them game 2. We're headed to a break. After this break, we'll have game 3 and the conclusion of the series.
The 2017 Heroes Global Championship Finals are brought to you in part by